All right, so tonight we're going to be talking about a brief history of Amazing Lies. It's actually super brief because if I actually talked about all the real lies, we'd be here for hours. Normally, cats kind of creep me out a little bit. They make me feel uncomfortable, but as I read more about human beings, I'm starting to get more creeped out by them. Particularly in this, I'm still creeped out by the cat that looks like Hitler back there. But speaking of Hitler, actually, I don't know if you guys knew this, but in 1939, year before the war happened, there was all these news reports that Polish people were killing ethnic Germans. So Germany did what any good nation would do. They got together and decided to kick Poland's butt. Instead of testing to see if these stories were true, they didn't. Actually, this is Hitler. He's responsible for the fake stories. The two guys in the middle with the horns on their helmets, I'm not positive. I think they're Nazi uniforms. So Hitler had this idea that the Germans were genetically superior to everybody else. So he talked them into basically taking over the world. This is a propaganda poster from that time showing the power of, Nazi awesomeness, I guess. But the thing about this is they took over 6 countries in 6 weeks. It's really impressive. And I guess if you have the power to shoot lightning bolts out of your fist, that might make things a little bit easier. What do you do when you're better than everybody? You've got to get rid of the people who aren't as good as you. So they put them in concentration camps where they slowly murdered them. Not all of them, of course, because some of them they had to experiment on to prove that they were actually superior. So here's what they did. They performed experiments to try to discover the exact genetic differences between themselves and everybody else. They found 2 important things, Jack and Squat. So I can't imagine being the Nazi scientists who said at the end when they figured out everybody was actually the same, like, I think people are going to be pretty mad about this. Speaking about being mad and mistaken ideas, there are these 2 kinds of ethnic groups that live in Rwanda, the Hutus and the Tutsis. Now they hate each other a lot. The Tutsis, or the Hutu look at the Tutsis like they're these spoiled, bratty, entitled kind of people. Whereas like the Tutsis look at the Hutus as being like Joe Schmo working class schlubs. I don't really know exactly how to put that into some metaphor that works. That's pretty good. But in this episode of Gilligan's Island, the Hutus are sick of the House snobbery and they decide we've got to kill them. Not just them, but everybody. So the Hutus embark on a campaign over the course of 100 days to kill as many Tutsis as they can. And they don't do it with bullets, they don't do it with bombs or poison, they do it with machetes, old school style. I don't know how you can kill 1 million people in 100 days with machetes. So scientists were confused by this, so they descended to study the Tutsis and Hutus. They also discovered 2 things, Jack and Squat. There was no ethnic difference between the Tutsis and the Hutus. This entire conflict was over the perception. It wasn't over reality at all. So, what they ended up with was the same thing that the Nazis ended up with. A big pile of bodies and no real answers about anything. Speaking of big piles of bodies, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. This is the end of the Holocaust in Rwanda. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad does not believe that the actual Holocaust ever happened. Not the Rwandan one, the World War II one, which is weird. Let's get to him. Here's him with Idi Amin. I love that guy. So he doesn't believe that the Holocaust actually happened. But the Holocaust is not like a Bigfoot sighting or a UFO photograph. It's not blurry and out of focus. And we actually have proof that it happened. And here's the reason why he does not believe in the Holocaust. Because he doesn't want to believe in the Holocaust. Because that's what humans do. Reality means nothing. Perception means everything. So I think to be fair to Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, what I should do is not take any of his own context into it. So for here, for instance, is Mahmoud Ahmadinejad describing the width and length of the thing that he deserves to have inserted inside of him. He's very specific about it. On the top, that's Mahmoud at a Ted Nugent concert, apparently. He had a great time here. He met Ted Nugent afterwards. They share a lot of the same political views. It's cool. Down at the bottom here is Ahmadinejad, apparently at Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, getting into work. It's really cool. Michelle Bachman, I love her. She recently said that the founding fathers fought tirelessly against slavery. Well, there's a problem with that. The founding fathers were all slave owners. And in the Constitution that they wrote, Thomas Jefferson, the guy who said everybody's created equal, all men are created equal, owned slaves himself. He also made out with them a lot. So anyway, here's the problem. The same Constitution says that a slave is 3/5 of a person, 3/5 of a human being. I'm going to agree with him there. As a matter of fact, I think everybody might just be 3/5 of a human being. Maybe we should spend the rest of our lives trying to make up that other 2/5 through education or good deeds or nice works or whatever the heck it is. Maybe we don't actually deserve to be full-fledged humans right out of the gate. That's it. Thanks.